Alrighty. Alrighty. Casey, be careful there. Try to stay away from getting a ticket. I hope I'm not at fault. Hello, everybody. Hello, Mr. Awesome. Casey, Nannies, thank you for showing up. Everybody pay attention to what Nanny's writing. She's giving you a lot of good tips right there. Michalis, hello, hello. Leo, Piotr, hello, hello. I've seen your message, Piotr. I spoke about it, but I'll get to it a little bit later. What else? What else? What else? Christoph, of course. Hello, hello, Christoph. Casey, like I said, be careful there. I'm so sorry and hope, yeah, your beautiful self will be able to get away out of the ticket. Hope it's a lady. Hope it's a lady. Hope she likes you. Smash like Greg. Thank you. Thank you. Shalom. Orthodoxals. Orthodoxals. One of those. Hello, everybody. Good luck. I got home. My coffee tastes like. Alrighty, I see a lot of interesting stuff going on in the chat. All right, Murat, hello, 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 of course, Slime. Right, so let's get into this. We got some cool stuff today, some cool price action. We really like what we got. Why? Because, well, we got to close the gap I told you we're probably going to get to close within a day or so. Here we are. We got to close it today. More so, inevitably, very much like any other day, we've generated a new gap. But luckily for us, we were able to get away and close this gap pretty much immediately. And we are free to go. So let's try and... This is actually a good situation. We like this. This is good. We want to see what the price action is indicating for us right now. We can kind of see that we are battling, or rather testing, the bottom of the current short-term, longer-term on the 1 minute channel. It is still very short term. Why? Because it's established on the 1 minute. Regardless of the large average, it means nothing in terms of what we actually get, right? So it's not that prolonged, so it's rather new. We're testing the bottom right now, checking this channel, so all nice and dandy. This is at face value bullish. Let's not kid ourselves. This is bullish. We're probably gonna test some of these adjacent levels to that median that we're going through, probably testing that shorter from the longer term duration, testing it, so not going to be all that surprising. We will see whether we're going to make it all that high. We don't have much of this session left for today, so I don't think we're going to be able to squeeze much of it. Let's just get rid of the dirty stuff here so it's not going to be in the way. Apologize. I have a tendency of, putting this on and let them stay. So let's clean it all up. Now it really starts to get really interesting. The 30 minutes really is more indicative to real behavior, real price action, something that could be considered as, well, significant enough to look at the, well, based on the structure, what are we supposed to get here? This is rather bearish, right? Let's be objective about this. This is rather bearish on the 30 minutes, considering the time frame. We're pretty much seeing how this session will conclude. Okay, this session right now, for as it stands right now, seems like it's going to continue to the downside and potentially test this 5800, which we understand is, of course, psychological, right? Retesting that same area, maybe moving us into this wedge that we are forming out of the current trend in this horizontal, basically. So this could definitely be the scenario right there. Now let's look at 45 minutes. 45 minutes is also very bearish, so not all that surprising to confirm what we're seeing with the 5800. SMA is creeping up from below. SMA is sadly misused and misunderstood by a lot of people. Well, I guess it's the fact of the matter that you have the term simple in it, and people misunderstand how not simple that really is. It is in a way it is simple, but let's not deviate to that. Right now, let's focus on our momentum. Momentum is still pointing to the downside as we have the convergence of these forces. I'm not going to be surprised if what we're looking at here in realistic terms is actually that range and maybe even lower. Why? Because the 1 hour, well, it's actually strong. In fact, so strong that I would argue that this downwards momentum can easily imply 57.50. Okay? maybe even 57 to moving towards the direction of 57.20, but that will have to be like a really negative day. And I am kind of then looking also into the stochastic RSI sliding into oversold territory eventually, right? So that could be a big part of the play right there. Just kind of correlating what we're seeing here on the hourly. The daily, the 4, almost. So the 4 hourly at face value is bullish, but really how bullish is it? Let's be objective. We are already seeing signs of convergence right here. So if we're going to have convergence and slide back into oversold territory, guess what's going to happen with the price action? It's going to amplify to the downside, the same phenomena we see. We're already seeing that the smaller time frames, the smaller time frames are indicating that we're going to be going down. So those that are larger and overarching over these sort of, it's the larger, the bigger picture. Basically, if we take a couple of steps back and really look at what the market is doing, we see that it's starting to look a lot more bearish than it is bullish. But we know the 4 hourly can oftentimes correlate to the daily and see what the daily sort of shows there. And it's going to give us a better hint to what really is going on. Surprise, surprise, we are bearish. So in other words, if we're going to be objective about most of the time frames right here that we've looked through, we're significantly bearish, right? So should we be surprised that, well, in the upcoming sessions, we will see more bearish movement, right? We're kind of seeing the hints all over the place. Now let's go weekly. Weekly is actually bullish at face value. Weekly is bullish. If we're going to look at weekly and its own structure, weekly could imply easily that we will test all the way back up. I would argue that the weekly, since it will be going potentially, remember, potentially, into overbought territory, we could easily eat away all the way back up to that 58, 53, no problem. Maybe even test some of these highs, right? That just, it is what it is. But I'm also starting to get a feeling that if all the other time frames are indicating for a bearish momentum in the upcoming sessions, this is something that's going to print right here and subsequently will not allow the indicator to push over the 80 range, right? And when we get the amplified overbought effect only when we cross over the 80 range. If we're not going to cross it, we're going to stay with this rather kind of tamish rally, which we got enough of, and start correcting, potentially correcting to the downside with convergence of the forces. Of course, allowing dominance to the bearish momentum, or really the loss of bullish momentum. I've described and explained this before. It's not bullish bearish, really. It is simply bullish and the loss of the that momentum that we've gained. And because we are, so to speak, to maybe compared to gravity, we end up high in the sky and with no momentum to keep on going. So that what happens is that we're falling. And yes, we accelerate to the downside, but it's not true acceleration unless it's a correction. And corrections are not, well, not correction, sorry, a downtrend or down wave, which, pardon me to say, are kind of invisible with this tool, right? You need to differentiate them on larger time frames or using a whole different tool altogether. In this instance, for example, we can see the difference between the impulses right to the wave. We understand that the larger one is the wave, of course. That's what we're really expecting to see. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of plowed through them. We know the monthly will close in 6 days. Well, the way the bears are eating away at that bullish candle, already quite indicative of what's to come. But I would argue let's not make any assessments too early. Let's wait for the price action to actually come through. And within 6 days, potentially, we're going to start seeing, well, a bit of a change of direction, right? Because that's something we've been expecting on, well, pretty much whole time frames, really. It is quite amazing how far we've been able to go on the 3 months, considering everything. But then again, remember, once everything else before it starts printing bearish, given some time, this will start printing as well. And we still have 2 more months and 7 days to finalize this candlestick and continue moving. And subsequently, don't forget, the current price action, of course, is eating away at it as well. So let's see how it will get locked at the end of the whole process. Alrighty. CDC going crazy. What, Slime, you want to take a look? I shouldn't have got it. What happened, Casey? I hope it's not my fault, brother. I really hope it's not my fault. They probably they don't like my channel so much. They're probably you know, No, I'm not gonna go there. But man, I'm sorry to hear. Like, jokes aside, I really am sorry to hear you got a ticket. Always, guys, drive safe. I really hate when people end up focusing on stuff that they shouldn't while driving. It's never a good thing. And Casey, maybe you should have focused on driving. I'm so sorry if the timing was, not great. Obviously, it was not my intention, brother. My apologies. All right. Now that we're over that, who is buying dip? Mamba, you're not clear. You guys, the tickers are not clear. What's going on? Okay, so from now on, we're gonna start. Let's start fresh, because then I'll have to go back and forth, and it'll take forever. We know what happens. If we want to take a look at any particular tickers, I mean, now would be a good time. So Tesla, for example, those who are curious, yes, we of course have still this gap to close. We have, of course, this gigantic gap to close that we've just generated, right? Another thing that we have here is this gap right above, right? To give you a frame of reference, it is located right below that 260.67. Okay, so our price action is currently slightly above. Remember, I've expected the price action to open up somewhere around here and basically start correcting to the downside. That would have been more of a normal action. Instead, we got this bullshit. And I mean, again, if you're not, it's cool, it's awesome, right? But sadly, we know what's gonna happen. We spoke about this before. The trend didn't change, the direction didn't change, the momentum didn't change. Nothing has changed. In fact, it's pretty much getting worse with every day, right? So I hope some of the people who are more into trading were able to capitalize on this, which is pretty cool. But those who are not able to capitalize on this, I'm so sorry. We're probably going to correct to the downside, close all these wonderful gaps, bringing us right below the diagonal, long-term diagonal we've been having for pretty much since forever. Those who don't know what to focus on, damn it, they're all drawings. It's basically this diagonal line that we broke above temporarily. Now, after the earnings, very good earnings, let's not lie to ourselves, explosive, good performance. I think what was it, 21.33% surprise. So, and those who are criticizing the revenue, come on. This is laughable. This is literally negligible. I mean, all jokes aside, right? Now, and so we've been having this longer term trend, right? That's actually started around 2022. We've established the highs right there. We've been testing. There are a couple of other trends that are holding us up as we go. A couple of gaps we had to close. Well, a couple of gaps, pardon me, right? You see partially a big portion, a big chunk of all these gaps that we've generated as we were testing higher and lower, moving through the resistance, now are closed. We just have the couple that are below us, since we've closed the ones that are above, as we've seen on a smaller time frame. And surprise, surprise, we're getting ready to shift over and have some fun with this, right? And if the indices will start breaking, this will start breaking as well. I know I just skipped over the daily. The daily is, well, I would argue that falsely pretending to be very, very bullish. I'm just going to say, remind you, remember, the bigger picture matters more. And what you're seeing is basically this cool off that is very temporary. And what will happen, we will proceed to the downside because it's a downwards trend. It is what it is. Okay? Now, and we're pretty much soon to hit either 80, have convergence here, or maybe actually get into overbought territory, but I argue that that's not the case. In fact, phenomenal how high we got. Do you really want to tempt it? Remember, I told you, we're probably going to be retesting these levels that are the golden pocket, which we ended up testing. Not all that surprising. But yeah, we've outperformed the testing at that level. In fact, I thought we're kind of done with it. I guess my bad. We still had enough of that momentum to push back up into that level, retest it again, but I argue that we're going to get rejected by it very shortly and break back down, since don't forget we're still in oversold territory. It's just that you got temporary relief right there. See? That is kind of why you're celebrating. Enjoy it while it lasts. And those who want to execute, execute. It's up to you. Not financial advice, just crazy person talking on the internet. Bam. All right, so we've done that. The levels don't change. Nothing didn't change. We still are aware of the levels. The current higher level that we have above us, that's 273.96. That's the height of that golden pocket. And if you want to know the lows, that's 260.67. Whew. All right. Now that we've plowed through Tesla, let's take a look at Palantir, those who are curious. Nothing all that crazy. We actually made that to that 45. We ended up testing the 45, which is very impressive. Still, again, remember, I would recommend capitalizing on this. Yes, the very next level, by the way, if you want to know, it's 47.03. Afterwards, you have 49.86. I basically keep on saying, oh guys, we're gonna break every day, we're gonna break, and since then we moved, you know, basically $5 more, right? Since I've been saying 40.30 will be the highest point. You see, yes, I can get stuff wrong as well. The market can remain irrational longer than we can stay solvent. With regards to the momentum, remember, a big portion of what I'm relying on is the indices starting to break and the rest of the market following. And the question is, how high can the market go before that happens? We know basically is the market is showing signs of a second away from a turnaround, whether it's going to happen today, tomorrow, within 2 days, next week. Of course, not today, not tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow for sure. Today, I highly doubt it as well. But you get the idea. Basically, we are on the verge and any moment now. And I wouldn't want to be testing and trying to squeeze 10% more out of the market in order to end up losing 30% of my existent ROI. That's not my style. Sorry, to each their own. But those who don't know how to trade, those who don't understand the longer duration sort of swings, those who don't understand how to short-term trade, those who don't know how to do proper technical analysis, avoid all that altogether. Avoid from buying at higher highs. Wait for lower prices when you feel the price is matching your expectations and current conditions. Buy there, DCA into it, basically stay safe, wait for it for a while, everything will be fine, right? The DCA method, it works, it's pretty much bulletproof. As long as you don't capitulate when times are tough. When times are tough, you need to be buying instead of capitulating. It's very important, right? Alrighty. I bought some AMD, Microsoft before earnings. It's okay. I don't know. That's a weirdly phrased question right there, boys and girls. All right, so let's do some tickers, we said. I would like GMAB. GMAB. You know what? Before you put on tickers, put like a star or something. Make it stand out so I'll be able to see the tickers stand out. CGC, I see going crazy. No, that's what that was just a comment. I'm not sure whether I should even go about it. What should I do? What should I do with it? This is your Okla, by the way. Piotr, I was looking at it earlier. But I think I broke it down with you. There's not much to say extra. I'm not sure what you want me to say that is like, it's not like something else happened since 2 days ago, literally. I think I've covered Okla more than I've covered a lot of other stuff. It has potential, but expect a correction. Expect a wave to the downside before you actually go up. That's kind of Oklo, rather. Oklo. Yes, so we are here. Need that round. But which doing? Saving close, sure. Right, I need that one. What did we want? But who we wanted? We said LOL is not a ticker, mama. Sorry, just kidding, just kidding. There's LOLB. We know there's LOLB. I would like GMAB. Right, we said GMAB. What is that? What have you found there, Christoph? What is that? Very correct, nannies. Bearish bias. How about the fact of the matter that when during COVID, when everybody were screaming, you know, the market is gonna crash, everybody were pulling their own hair out of their head. I was the only bull around. I had no clue what Tom Lee was saying. In fact, I was too preoccupied, and you can watch my videos and you can ask Tom himself. I predicted the bottom. In fact, hilariously enough, this cycle, this time around, I was able to predict the bottom far more accurately than I was able to predict the top. And those who know anything about technical analysis, oftentimes it's the other way around. Oftentimes the tops are far easier to find and read and basically discern rather than finding the bottoms. The bottoms are a lot more problematic. I seen your message, Piotr. It doesn't change anything. The technical again, it means nothing to me. I go about the technicals. The technicals are showing what they're showing. If the technicals will adjust, we will then have to talk about it. But what I've seen so far, I really don't see anything readjusting on that front. No, I mean, again, if you want to, instead of asking the question that you have, like I said, find time, reach out to me, tell me you have time, right? Make sure you have a microphone or a headset, whatever working. Let's hang out in the Discord. And I've just done it the other day, right? So we can do it and take a look if there's anything to look at, right? You know, I don't mind. I'm all for it, Piotr. I'm all for it, brother. So, Christoph, you know I don't like these. I mean, I do like these, but we know the problem with these. But let's take a look at it. Fair. It's a fair question. I get it. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then again, all of them do good things at the end of the day. I will try to, you know. Wow, extensive. Sorry, some of the terms are hard for me to read. Chronic lymphocytic, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Oh my God, they're yeah, they're doing like the hardcore stuff. Been around. Okay, I see. How have you been doing? Yeah, they're always usually just yeah. Yeah, well, okay, so their net margin is dropping, so okay. Since your revenue is on the up and up, your income is keeping stable-ish, kinda. We can call it ish. It's like ish. On the grand scheme of things, it looks good. I mean, you're on the up and up. Your balance sheet looks good. Okay, I mean, looks good. All right, so all in all, let's take a look at what it actually shows. Mm. Present by having what mentoring I'm oh, yeah, okay. I mean, okay, let's take a look at what was the story here. Okay. Let's look at the investory. Haha. That was a bit funny. I know how I have a weird sense of humor. Ignore me. I'm going stupid here. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. I mean, you're in an obvious downtrend right now, and you're more so having a cool off period. This is kind of what you, but you have these gaps that are not great. Let's just try and look at this one in 5 minutes. I'm curious how ugly will it look like. Okay, so you were doing this obviously to close this, right? So you're good. You're good on that front. It looks like you closed everything around that area. Kinda. Looks like you're good because whatever you generated here, you close here, so you're good. But okay, generated didn't close. I see you have that thing there, thingy. Gonna cause you some issues. That is closed, but you have a tiny one there. You have a gigantic one there. It's not looking great to those who are shorting it because it seems like this asset does not really like the gaps. It does open them, but I would argue that this asset doesn't like its gaps. And most of them eventually end up closing. Eventually, that means those who are shorting it gonna get screwed hard. You're actually kind of... This is interesting. This is an interesting side to see. I mean, we can see it looks like Swiss cheese without even trying, right? Just it's very choppy. And you have highs all the way to, what is that, like the 40-ish area. But then again, your momentum on the larger time frames is starting to look screwy. And yeah, you're kind of not doing great. This is not a great structure overall. Look how you're, out of bounds on most time frames. Your SMA is just starting to be created, so you don't have no actual strong support right there. I mean, it's going to be temporary retest probably. What is that? What is that? Like 20? You're To put it in simple terms, get back to me if you test 20. And I think you're probably going to test 20. It's not going to be straightforward. Of course, I think the market is prone to close that tiny little gap that it has right above it, that 25.56, shortly, if anything. It looks like, if anything, it's going to try and do this first and only then maybe retest and, break down. Maybe so. Earnings. When do you have earnings? How? It's a bit sketchy right now, I would argue, but you still have upside there, obviously. Not a lot, though. And because it's not a lot, yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if you're going to end up retesting some of these intersections between the trends, the short term and the longer duration one. And just clean it up just a little bit. And yeah, you see the ugliness that you're having here? So you're kind of stuck. Basically, you're testing the median right now. To really, really be on top of it, you're basically testing the median. This red line that comes all the way from here from the top to this is your actual guideline. And since it should have this convergence and maybe this SMA top, or well, it doesn't really test it, but definitely poses a force to keep it on the on the low end. And with that momentum, you're probably going to keep the low moment, the downwards momentum. It's not great. Even if you're going to have basically, if you're going to have a correction, you're probably going to be stupid lucky again if you're going to have that 25, as we said, closed. Maybe test even below it and then proceed and only then eventually get it closed. Get back to me when you see 20, which I think you will relatively shortly. Yeah. That is that. That is that. I hope you've been following what I've been saying. And this is, get ready for some choppiness. Not going to be all that great for you. You're in oversold, amplifying, out of bounds. Not great. Not great. Not a great sign. Not a great sign, sir. Looks like your momentum is completely being dismantled. You're obviously having here a couple of supports and resistances that probably you're gonna run through and test back and forth, so don't expect yourself to, if shit really hits the fan, you're not gonna break all that right away. You're probably gonna be forming some form of shoulder like that, the equivalent of that on the other end somehow. So that is that. Alrighty, next ticker. What ticker? What are we doing? I'm sorry, I decided I'm not going to be reading everything back and forth. It's going to be forever. I mean, we're going to be sitting here till tomorrow. RBRK. Let's do RBRK. You see, Leo got it. Leo's on top of it. No, I see we have our setup already. Yeah, I see we were talking about this stuff, so... I mean, I don't mind taking a look at anything or, again and again and again. I really don't, but I don't think there's much changed on that front since last time we spoke. I really don't mind, I just don't think there's much changed. So you have this gap. I'm not going to be surprised if the market will want to close it. I'm not surprised it ended up landing right on top of that area at all. Shouldn't you be? Plenty of levels below. Your strong nearest one is definitely that 38.50. Wait, where are you? So basically you're stuck between 38.50 and 40. That's your current range, I would argue. That's your stuff. So yes, of course it slides out. The market will never be accurate. The market doesn't know how to be accurate on that level of things. I mean, it is stupid accurate, but at the same time, it will always slide outside the lines. Oh, well, 90% of the time, if you will, right? Expect it to slide. If it doesn't, boohoo, woohoo, you got it accurately this one time. But otherwise, don't expect it to be all that accurate in that sense that it will not slide out of the supports and resistances. More often than not, it will show evidence of its testing these levels, but it will slide out. Yeah, absolutely. Smash the like and subscribe and ring the bell and eat the YouTube and do everything that you need to do. Algorithm doesn't like me anyway. I don't know. Algorithm prefers shorts that dumbify people instead of this and stuff. Yeah, no, I don't think we see any change. You're still stuck in that range. Basically, you're going to be testing it until the market will confirm one direction or another. But in my assessment, you're going to be, if anything, starting to see more of that convergence. You're probably going to slide above that 40. Don't forget you have that 40.09, 40.90 right there. Weaker area, but still you have it. So don't be surprised if you're going to be testing it. Kind of, it doesn't have to. People often imagine the market being very just, slick and beautiful and textbook perfect, as we might refer to it. So yeah, picture perfect. No, none of that stuff. In fact, it might look very fugly, very weird, but on the grand scheme of things, you're probably gonna get a correction here. Come on, work. No, we don't have enough data. Probably. What am I looking at? There's nothing to look at. Moron. I'm stupid. Yeah, you're gonna go for a correction. I'm fairly sure, sir. And the levels are the levels. You can take a picture. You can, I can give it to you in your free time. You can copy them, write them, do whatever you want. All of the levels are applicable. I promise they are all important. Yeah. So there's that. That is rubric for ya. What are we doing in the time being? I'm just curious. Not much. We're kind of dancing around the gap bottom. Oh, we're in the gap. Okay. But I had to, Christoph, I had to change the title because then it's gonna be the same title. I don't mind. It's not like I'm not thinking the market will crash or anything. You guys see, it's the same narrative. It's just that I really had to change the title for like not to have another series that is too identical. I'm gonna change the titles later, kind of, maybe even change some of the thumbnails just for it not to eat away at stuff I can use, so to speak. Your mic got so far. Maybe I moved away or something. I mean, I don't know. Let me check. I think I might have moved away. And that second it might have. Yeah, because my mic seems to be just fine. Probably my bad. I was in the wrong angle towards the mic or something. My bad, my bad. Righty. Next sticker, boys and girls, next sticker. What do we do now? If you already wrote it down, no problem. Oh, SERV. All right, SERV. Almost missed it. Almost missed it there, K. Agent K. SERV. Alrighty. Oh, we've looked at this before as well. I think we've taken just, yeah. I mean, we can, again, boys and girls, we can look at anything and everything again and again. It's just nothing gonna change. I mean, yeah. You're gonna run out of surprises very quickly. Yeah, not looking all that good. I mean, it's not looking healthy. It's looking like you're testing this resistance, at least for the time being. What does it do on the long run? What do you say? We're not existing. Oh my God. Really? Actually, you're positive. But then again, we'll test it. How positive will you be? Like what? Depending how far you can get before it probably goes It's relatively new. Yeah, it's new. Interesting. That is interesting. That is very interesting. First of all, this is a problem for you. I mean, obviously, this is a problem. That is somewhat a problem for you. And this is more of a down trajectory, obviously. Right there, you're testing that fib retracement level, which is 1033, but you also have your trend not really being all that positive. Look, if you're lucky, you're going to get to 1296 before the market breaks. But damn, I highly doubt it. I'm already starting to smell the market breaking. Like, as far as for all I care, the market is late to break. And look, if you're, I mean, try to hold on, because I do think you will end up testing the top of this channel. You definitely have enough time for that. Danny, we're gonna take a look at plug once we finish this. No problem. Hold on, boys. Don't rush the chat, because yeah, I'm very hungry. Definitely need to go and eat, and my brain is like at half capacity. I'm trying to do my best here. So, I mean, I do think you're gonna make it to maybe seeing your 11-ish area, right? But I have a feeling from what I'm seeing and the way the structure works, even if you're going to get caught up with making a similar structure on the other end of things here, because it starts to look like a form of a very ugly inverted head and shoulders, I have a feeling you're not going to make it to 1296. So if you do make it to the 11s, catch up with me again. Also, of course, follow the market on the grand scheme of things, because if the market starts breaking, you're not going to not get wet. If that makes any sense. You see NVIDIA 150? That's a good, interesting question. We can actually look at NVIDIA. Wait, who asked what first? Plugged in. Okay, so NVIDIA first. Look, I know that NVIDIA right now is testing 140. Again, I'm very, very impressed that we were able to break out of that lower range that we were testing, the 110, 190. For all I saw, we would have been able to maybe test the 118, 115. So yeah, we definitely outperformed this one, right? This round is definitely have outperformed. But then again, the entire expectation on most of these assets to correct heavily beyond the lows that we're talking about and obviously test the lows that we're talking about on a consistent basis here. And we see, yes, these ranges are normal. We do pop in and out of them normally. That's just part of the longer duration cycle, what I'm trying to show to most people, and most just ignore it because they hyper focused on the shorter duration, you know, what was compared to yesterday, right? But really, when you realize it's not all that smooth and simple, currently we're testing this. Your next, I mean, I hate to say it, but you can see the chart, so yeah. So once you break, you still test the 110, 100, and 96.87. Nothing really changed yet. We're able to push back up into the previous high that we've tested before. Not that crazy. Nothing all that phenomenal, I'm sorry to say. I mean, yeah. Do I think we're going to get 150? At that stage, the question happens to be whether you're going to capitalize or not, right? Let's try and see. You know what? Just to satisfy your own curiosity, let's see if we have what it takes to make it to 150. First of all, correct when you're looking at 150, because 150 will be a psychological level, a very strong one. That would be 1500, basically. Let's look at it this way. All right, let's put this in, lock it up. All right, so let's try and assess this in a realistic point of view. So, well, in today's session, probably you're not going to be able to push anywhere away from this 140. We're basically stuck there. 30 minutes. 30 minutes is actually rather bearish. Like, you haven't even started seeing the true bearish momentum. So easily breaking below the 140.76 and testing back into the range below it, kind of testing some of the ranges here. I can clearly tell we have something around here, right? Which is, I would say, 135. Not too strong, obviously, but it's there. 135, what? Did we say 135 something? I'm curious. Yeah. Yeah, we have that. Okay, there you go. Fairly certain about it. But it's not strong enough for you to care about it for long enough. It's just something you're going to clear within a day or so. Still bearish, basically haven't really started seeing true acceleration in oversold territory. The larger the time frame, the longer the duration in oversold. Longer duration in oversold, the worse the damage is. So again, just getting started. Still bullish, actually. Neatly enough, you're still bullish, but we know the 4-hour can have a discrepancy, and if we're looking at your daily, and you're still bearish, right? So you're still moving to the downside. In fact, you haven't even started feeling the pain yet. This is just kind of woohoo, you were able to push another wave. If you're a trader, cool. If you're not, use your eyes. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, just use your eyes. Rather bullish, by the way. Well, let's see. I'm curious, but yeah. On most assets, we have that on the weekly, but on Nvidia, we have it on the monthly, just like on the S&P, because how far it rallied. It basically is the S&P and the Nvidia rally are highly intertwined with one another, and so kind of expect to see them break together. Kinda, sorta, kinda. Alrighty, now 3 months, yeah, I mean, this is very bullish still regardless. So to be honest, the way we're supposed to see this is that Nvidia on its own is very bullish still. Like, it still is printing bullish conditions. But Nvidia is also tied in with the rest of the market and the indices, and in fact, the Nvidia will be the first and the worst to burn when the market starts a correction. That's as I said, my expectation. I know it's gonna sound insane. So I mean, given the 33 right there, but basically my range didn't change much. It still stands at 53.86 and potentially maybe even the 30s. Now the 30s are less under question than they were before. Still probable, but then again, I will be able to determine that when the true correction starts. Remember, the signs, when it comes to Nvidia itself, Nvidia is bullish, okay, to be clear. But the grand signs, or the grand scheme of things, the signs are bad. The market is basically showing and printing signs of it a second away from falling off a cliff, a very, very tall cliff. It was getting ready to fall off for a long time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Greg is crazy and wrong. So you do you. Don't listen to Greg. Listen to yourself. Plug. Look, actually, Danny, Plug is simple. I recommend you join us and hang out with us. I'll explain. Plug is ready to break out and have been ready to break out for quite some time, right? It is something that is highly correlated with the whole energy sector. If we're looking individually at the hydrogen sector, we're looking at generating, the difference between generating blue hydrogen to green hydrogen, infrastructure, Plug, just like fuel cell, just like any hydrogen play that is a good company that technically, right, is sort of surviving the difficult times, if you will, right? Well, just like any other company in that sphere, if you see, I mean, they're again getting better, but getting worse at the same time. Conditions are not ripe yet for most of these assets. I do expect a correction, a decent movement, something that I will be able to capitalize on when it comes to Plug, right? The signs are there and have been for some time now, similarly to how the general market is printing for some time now a correction to the downside. We might be waiting for the upcoming earnings, right? We might be. Or we might be waiting for something that is also more tied in with energy in general. As you know, energy has been quite quite volatile, fluctuating between 80 to 70 when it comes to oil. And I can tell you that more often than not, when we start to see the energy sector flourish and various assets that are correlated with the energy sector, oftentimes come right on the back of and the energy sector in generally starting to sort of wake up, and then the technicals start printing more of what actually up to come. Right now, we've been printing that we are ready for a correction sometime, but we've been delaying it and, you know, dragging our feet for a long time. But again, I do like plug. I'm holding a small position and probably gonna expand more soon. But it's not something that you should take seriously. And again, me having a position should be meaningless. So, you know, it's up to you. But I do like what I see with plug. We're basically been winding out the spring for a very long time. And I do think that shortly we will see that spring unwind. We already are in rather positive conditions, as you can tell right here, with regards to the weekly chart. But it's very sluggish, very slow, and it might take some time to print, and we might not print before we see the entire energy sector benefit from a bullish movement. Alrighty. XOM. Let's do XOM. Let's do. Why not? Why not? Oh, no. Wrong chart. We probably want to use this one. Yeah, I think. Why not? XOM. Let's go XOM. Oop, oop. I mean, we're obviously seeing these. ExxonMobil, as we can tell, and we know, really big fans of gaps. Your structure right here on the 4-hourly is very bullish. You have a very wound up spring right there. A lot of pressure that will release at some point soon, pardon me. But yes, it's not all that straightforward, but it's not gonna take too long. Basically, you're bullish. ExxonMobil is actually bullish. Me like what me see. Yeah, looks like a little bit of a breather, but I do like what I see on ExxonMobil. It doesn't mean it's you know, it's not gonna have its trouble. You're still on a good path. You have some more bullish momentum. Probably gonna test that higher channel one way or another, 126-ish maybe even. What is your really saying? Yeah. No, you're actually bullish on ExxonMobil. Again, just understand it's not going to be immediate, right? It's just like, well, you bought today, tomorrow it flies up. You still have some retests here on the low end. I'm not going to be surprised if that's going to happen, but then you're going to close these, and maybe these will be part of that correction above the 150 SMA. 150, how is your daily looking? You're still keeping it above. You have a lot of gaps below. I really don't like that. I really don't like. The thing is that one day when ExxonMobil will break, and it will correct these, right? And they are low. They're like really low. Very problematic what you're having with ExxonMobil. I'm far more prone to think that you're going to have a rally before you're going to have a correction that will close these gaps, unless the entire energy sector will suffer. But I do think ExxonMobil will actually benefit from a rally before it goes through a correction. I am seeing these gaps and they are deep. I don't think you're going to make it to close this one. I have a hunch, fuel oil. Definitely pretty sure you're going to close that one still. That is your 90 range, kinda. 64. No, it's still, regardless of how I flip it, it seems as if you're going to have a rally first. Meaning, even if we're going to have a tiny correction right there, tiny. Yeah, tiny. But the hundreds, you have more of a rally in the system. I know that looks potentially bearish, but looking at everything and considering how I think oil will play out, you're probably gonna benefit from this before you ever break down and correct. But the correction will come. Mind you that the correction will come. These gaps will get closed, and you're probably gonna generate some new ones as you're gonna go higher. I don't think you're gonna be able to close anything below the 100 though before you continue to the upside. Basically, kinda. It's like if you're lucky, you're gonna close whatever that is that you have left over here in that 100 range. Then you shoot up, and then at some point when you will correct, you're gonna correct low. You're gonna correct like very low. But that's further out. That's probably when market will be doing better after recessionary period. Took December 120 leaps. That's not my language, brother. Mamba, you know I'm not an expert when it comes to options, and I prefer not to talk out of my ass. We have Tim, Arnon, we have plenty of people who know what they're doing when it comes to options. I myself not a big fan. But there are some things about options that I do like, but again, you don't want, they're not meant, again, very precise and specific, and otherwise I'm not a big fan. That's it. Let's just call it at that. Right, so yeah, we're not doing anything all that crazy. I do think the last hour will be rather tame, nothing all that impressive. Or probably, like I said, gonna generate more of that downwards momentum, retest these lows, maybe that channel, right? So 5800 itself, maybe, but we're not really having any momentum to do anything substantial. Doesn't matter upside or downside. We're done. We're done for today. We're cooked. Boys and girls, I mean, we still might have a surprise. We know, you can ask Arnon. Arnon and I have seen the market surprise in the last 5 minutes, right? But I mean, honestly, I would say start your weekend early. You know, I really don't think we're going to have anything substantial enough. Next week is going to be more interesting. The closer we get to election, the more interesting it's going to get. And yeah, next week is going to be interesting. And let's see how 2 weeks from now will be. Get ready. The market might get very, very messy. I would argue that now you don't want to be doing anything crazy unless those are very short-term trades, very risk-averse. Your portfolio should be ready for what's to come on the 5th, 6th, whenever the market will react. Maybe prior to, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, right? Like that one, you see, crystal ball. I don't have one. No one does. And if anyone claims they do, you know what to tell them, right? Boys and girls, ladies and gents, I tremendously appreciate your time and hanging out with me here. You go take a rest. Let's all start a wonderful weekend. I think we all deserve this one. This week was rather monotonous and kind of just, like I said, you know, sideways mostly, wasting a bunch of time. Yes, boys and girls, those who are not on our Discord, join our Discord. That way we can hang out and talk, and you can actually ask me in-depth questions and all these things that I say not here on the Discord. That's where you get that. Patreon, absolutely. Sign up, only $10 a month, and you get to hang out with us. You're going to join our Zoom call on Sunday, and I am planning to determine the days that I'm going to have my hangouts and everything in the following and upcoming, well, days, weeks. Maybe we'll see exactly how we're going to work all this stuff out, and we're going to have some hangouts that are also technical oriented. So don't miss out. Those who miss out on the stuff, then can't complain they didn't know. Tom, Greg, and mods will not initiate DMs. Mama, thank you so much for reminding me. Boys and girls, remember, the staff will never initiate DMs, offer you copy trading, crypto, schmipto, blah, 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 none of that garbage. If you see something that feels suspicious, feel free to write in the town square, ask us directly if that's us, whatever. I mean, honestly, guys, stay away from, there's plenty of scammers. Stay away from anything that looks suspicious and verify with us if that is proper or if that is something you need to stay away from. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I still have one spot for my one-on-one academy. Almost forgot, Mama. Thank you very much. those who are interested in inquiring about the One-on-One Academy, in which I basically do a private lesson. It's not a bunch of videos or something. No. I teach you one-on-one. We hang out in the channel together on Discord, the one-on-one channel. You get all sorts of perks that I'm not going to mention here because that's not what you should be signing up for. You should sign up if you really want to understand in-depth technical analysis, know better, know to be able how to do it on your own and not to rely on me. And that also means you're going to become part of a community. No one really expects you to become an expert like myself within, a couple of months. That's not how it works. Okay. There's a lot of tutoring, a lot of effort needs to be put into the whole thing. So only if you're serious and seriously interested. All right, boys and girls, you all have a wonderful weekend. Like I said, I will see you next week, and probably maybe over the weekend we're gonna hang out a little bit, as I said. So be attentive to the notifications and announcements. All right, I think we're done. Nannies, thank you very much for the help. You're a phenomenal mod. Christoph, likewise, thank you, boys and girls, for joining me and the staff here. And yeah, that's it. See you on the Discord. Let's all have a wonderful weekend. Peace out.